Here, joining us now from Washington is Pete Davis. He is the president of Davis Capital Investment Ideas, which is a consulting firm that advises Wall Street on Washington policy developments. Pete, thanks for joining us on this holiday.
Thanks for having me, Lori.
What are you telling your clients about the bill? What are they saying to you?
Well, I've been telling them all along I thought it would pass and that it would have to get watered down enough to get the 60 votes they needed, and that's what happened.
So public opinion seems to be strongly against that, but you say, again, you don't see big problems for Democrats in 2010.
Well, I mean, the Democrats have big majorities in both houses, 10-seat majority in the Senate and a 40-seat majority in the House. You know, the best pundits, you know, seem to be looking race by race and seeing maybe the Democrats could lose 2 or 3 votes in the Senate and maybe a couple of dozen in the House, but it would be a stretch to flip either house. Don't forget, the president and the Democrats have almost a year to convince the American people that this bill is going to work.
Pete, Lindsey, Arent here on Capitol Hill. Want to ask you a question about the concern about the difficulty getting this legislation passed today in the Senate. So much rancor, so much partisanship, so much argument, and some people called it a very dirty debate in some cases. How's that going to affect the prospects for legislation and the Democrats' agenda going forward? Talking specifically about cap and trade, for example.
I agree completely with what you said previously. It's going to be very difficult. I don't see how cap and trade passes the Senate next year.
And it's Lori again. What sort of lobbying fight can we expect over the next couple months, specifically over health care? How much room do business groups have to even change the legislation?
Well, there's always the details, and this conference committee is going to be meeting starting next week and through middle or late January and iron out a lot of details. And I guarantee you that all my friends on K Street are going to be working very hard. Another point to be made is that even after this bill is signed into law, the lobbying is not going to stop. This is going to be like energy policy. We're going to have health care bills, maybe not next year, but I mean, you know, after they pass this one, but they'll have successive bills over many years trying to fine-tune the bill as the implementation takes place.
Pete, I want to ask you about winners and losers here. First of all, how does the insurance industry make out? Clearly, they're going to get 30 million new customers. Are they going to be burdened by, you know, sort of taxes and fees imposed on them and this new mandate that they can't deny anyone with pre-existing conditions?
Well, clearly the market reaction yesterday, where those stocks rose dramatically and where they've been rising all year, was that the initial concerns a year ago of how badly they might be hit were allayed. So, you know, certainly they pay some taxes in the Senate version. They get 30 million more customers, but there's all these restrictions. And there's also a new starter in the Senate bill that we haven't mentioned, this medical loss ratio. They're going to have to pay out, depending on the type of policy, between 80 and 85% of their premiums for medical care. That's a big jump from the current 74%. And so it's a mixed bag for the insurers.
Pete, have you thought about how much this entire healthcare lobbying effort is going to cost, or how much money it could generate for the industry, for your industry?
Well, I mean, there's billions of dollars spent on lobbying every year. I think the latest figure is over $3 billion. Hey, as long as there's the United States, as long as there's a Congress and a government, and as long as people have issues that they care about what Congress does, there's going to be lobbying.
All right, Pete Davis, Davis Capital Investment Ideas. Thanks for joining us.